of Tamacha slept beneath the moon as round as a calabash. Cricket cheat like tiny drummers, the rivers whisper softly against its banks, and from the dark belly of the forest came a sound, slow, heavy, ancient. The slither of scales against earth, it was a scared python. Father returned, gliding from shadow to shadow toward the hut of Achi, elder of Tamacha. Yet it made its home beside the earth beneath the stool of the man who was called the voice of the ancestors. But in that same hut, on the small mats beside the wall, lay a boy who could not sleep. Achi stared into the darkness, his eyes wide, his breath shadowy. The fire had died to glowing embers, yet he could still hear it. The faint hiss of movement on the clay floor. The serpent's body gleamed faintly, sliding like liquid bronze. His father's word echoed in his mind. The python is the spirit of your fathers. To harm it is to harm yourself. But another voice, quiet and dangerous, whispered back. A snake is only a snake. He turned toward his mother, Uju, sleeping soundly beside the wall. Outside, a dog barked and the night swallowed the sound. Achi sat up, his heart beating fast. Why must we worship what crawls? He whispered to himself. The next morning, the sun rose in sheets of gold over the red earth. The village awoke to pounding pistols, to laughter of women at the streams, and to the distant beat of a drum announcing market day. Achi joined his friend Ubiora at the field where boys played wrestling. Ubiora squinted at him and said, "You look as though a ghost sat on your chest. Did you not sleep?" Achi shrugged. "I heard the python again last night. It moves when the ward sleeps." Ubiora frowned. "It is father returned. Do not speak carelessly." Achi scoffed. "A father that crawls in the dust. What kind of father is that?" Ubiora looked around in fear. "Quiet your tongue before the trees hear you." But Achi only smiled faintly. The trees may hear, but they do not strike. That same week, the missionaries came again, tall men with pale faces, led by Mr. Snow. They came in the heat of noon, carrying books and a small cross that gleamed in the sun. The people gathered beneath the big Iroko tree to hear them speak. Mr. Snow's word fell like rain on dry earth. He spoke of one God, of one light and salvation, of a kingdom beyond death. He spoke against idols, against blood sacrifices, against snakes. Achi listened from the edge of the crowd. When Mr. Snow said, "You cannot serve two masters, the God of heaven and the God of serpent," the boy felt something stir inside him. Later, he followed Mr. Snow as the man packed his books. "Teacher," Achi asked, "is it true that those who serve the serpent walk in darkness?" Mr. Snow smiled. "It is written so, my boy. There is only one true light. All else is shadow. But our father said the serpent saved Tamacha in a time of war," Achi said. "Lies told by the blind to the blind." Mr. Snow answered, "Only God saves, never a creature." Achi bowed slightly, but his eyes burned. He walked home through the rustling grass, his heart divided, half bound to the words of his father, half drawn to the light of the stranger. That night, he lay awake again. The serpent slid near the fire, its eyes catching the glow. He felt anger rise in him. "You are no father of mine," he murmured, "and I will prove it." Days became weeks. Achi's mind turned like a wheel that would not stop. He began to study the serpent's movement. When it emerged, when it fed, when it returned to the dark corner behind the stool, he noticed that it slept deeply after feeding, its coils rising and falling slowly, like the breathing of the earth. One evening, Eze returned home with his eldest son, Ebuka, who carried calabashes of palm wine. Eze said, "Achi, bring me cup. You must learn patience. A hunter waits before he strikes." Achi looked at him and replied softly, "What if the hunter hunts the wrong prey, father?" Eze laughed. "Then the forest will teach him the cost." That night, Achi watched as the python slid toward the fire. His mother placed a small bowl of eggs before it and whispered prayers. Achi turned away. He thought of Mr. Snow's words, "The blood of animals cannot cleanse you." and he thought of no one dares to break the chain. Who will bring light to Tamacha? He asked. At dawn, he met Obiora by the stream. Obi, he said, I will do something that no one else has done before. You speak like a madman, said Obiora. What are you planning? To end the lie. Obiora's voice trembled. You will bring a curse on your house. No, Achi said. Firmly, I will bring the truth. Obiora grabbed his hand. If you harm the serpent, Tamacha will bury you alive. Achi pulled him away. Then let them bury a free man. From that moment, he began to prepare. He found an old sack used by women to carry cassava. He stole a long stick from the goat pen. Every night, he practiced in silence how to pin, how to lift, how to tie. He watched the moon circle, waiting for the dark night when clouds swallowed its light. Meanwhile, the pattern grew sluggish with the cold of the rainy season. Achi took as a sign. Even the gods grew weak when their time is done. He thought. One evening, Uju called to him as he stirred soup over the fire. Achi, she said, your father worries. You no longer sing with your friends. What burns in your heart? Nothing, Mama, I only think. Thinking too much, she said, gently can make a man forget his place. And what is my place, Mama? He asked quietly. To bow to a snake? The native pot froze in her hand. She turned slowly, her eyes wide. Never speak such words again. The words have ears, and the gods have tempers. Achi looked away. If the gods have tempers, he said softly, perhaps they are not gods at all. That night, Uju knelt beside the fire and prayed for her son. But Achi, laying awake, whispered his own prayer, one the ancestors had never heard before. If there is truth beyond this land, they said, let it find me. Let me see the world as it is, not as they tell me. That night came heavy with rain. Thunder rolled over the hills like a voice warning. Eze and Uju slept soundly, their breathing lost beneath the drumming water of the roof. Achi rose quietly, his heart pounded like a drum. He took the sack, the stick, and a small gourd of palm wine, of courage. He crushed beside the sleeping python. Its coils glistened in the faint firelight. For a moment he hesitated. The creature was magnificent, ancient, a living relic of everything Tamacha stood for. But then he remembered the missionary's voice. Only the blood of Christ cleans. He lifts the stick. Forgive me if you are truly Father returned. He whispered, but I must know if the world changes when you die. With one swift motion, he pressed the stick behind the head, forcing it into the sack. The serpent stretched, heavy and strong, but he tied the mouth shut with trembling hands. Sweat poured down his face. The sack reeled for a moment, then grew still. The rain covered every sound. At sunrise, Tamacha was bathed in mist. Smoke rose from cooking fires as he sat outside, his eyes hollow. The sack lay buried beneath a mound behind the goat pen. When his father came out, he greeted him with the calm of a man hiding a storm. You look weary, my son, Eze said. I did not sleep well, Achi answered. Then rest, said his father. The gods do not bless tired minds. But before noon, children playing near the stream found a torn sack in the bushes. They opened it and screamed. By midday, the news had reached every hut. The scared python of Eze's house was dead. The elders gathered beneath the Iroko tree, drums beat in distance, not from celebration, but for mourning. The king sat in silence, his staff planted in the ground. Chief Owanfo's voice cut through the air. Since the white man came, he thundered, our children mock the gods. The only ways crumble, the old ways crumble. Now even the scared python has been defied. His hand shook. My king, he said, I know not who has done this. My household will be searched. The king nodded gravely. The chief priest will speak. If the killer hide, the land will suffer. That night, Eze returned home and caught Achi into the hut. The fire flickered between them, painting shadows on the wall. My son, Eze said, answer me truthfully. Did you touch the serpent? No, father, Achi replied. Think before you lie, easy one. The gods see beyond the walls. Achi's voice was quiet but firm. Then let them see I did nothing. Eze stared at him for a long time before seeing something in the boy's eyes that chilled him. It was not fear, it was conviction. The next morning, the town's crier's drum echoed through the village. People of Tamacha, he called. The king calls for confession. If the hand that killed the serpent speaks, mercy will follow. If not, the gods demand blood. Mothers clutched their children. Fathers whispered prayers. Eze walked to the shrine and poured libatation on the ground, his voice trembling, but the earth remained silent. Achi watched from afar, his face unreadable. He felt no triumph, only emptiness. A hollow quiet where his sanctity should have been. That night, when he looked at the sky, he whispered, "If the gods are real, let them strike me. If they are false, let them sleep forever." Lightning flashed over the hills, but no thunder followed. Days turned into silence. The serpent's death remained unresolved, and Tamacha's peace began to fracture. Crops withered early, the rain stopped, children fell ill. Whispers spread that the gods were angry. Eze sat before his altar staring at the dust. His eyes were dim with worry. Achi watched him and felt the first sting of guilt. Did I trade one darkness for another? He asked himself. At last, he went to Mr. Snow. The missionary looked at him kindly. "You look troubled, my boy." Achi's voice trembled. If a man destroys a lie, but sorrows follows, was it the truth he found? Mr. Snow smiled faintly. Faith brings light, but every light casts a shadow. Achi bowed his head. Then perhaps I've only found the shadow. That night, the python appeared, not in flesh, but in Achi's dream. It laid coiled at the foot of his mat, his voice deep and sorrowful. "You have killed me, child of Tamacha," it said, "but you have not killed what I am. I am the memory of your people. Until you know your place in the circle of earth and the sky, you will wander without rest." Achi woke up with tears in his eyes. Outside, the first rain in many days began to fall. Soft, endless, washing the dust from the red earth. Tamacha slept beneath it, a land caught between two fates. A land that would remember both the serpent and the boy who defied it. And so, the story is told that in the land of Tamacha, the spirits do not die, they only change their names.